Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. I think it's time to about to start now. Okay. Nice to meet you all in the iLive. Okay. Basically, in Ni and Phone. Okay, because most of our company are offshore company. Sorry, most of our office are offshore office. So that's why we in Hong Kong office and Hong Kong headquarters started to have the broadcasting through YouTube to deliver digital learning sessions for all these offices. So for today's session, I would like to deliver the session called Analyze Data with PowerPivot. Okay, let me introduce myself first. Okay, my name is David Mann from the digital learning team of the Global HR. Okay, most of the Hong Kong colleagues in will treat me as one of the guy from ITS. However, I also always remind them again and again. I say I have already moved from ITS to HR for at least 7 years already. Okay, actually now David Mann belongs to the digital learning team of Global HR. Okay, now maybe let us start today's session. Okay, how to analyze data with PowerPivot. Basically, what is PowerPivot? I think most of you, if you have some experience of using Microsoft Excel, you have already know what is pivot table, right? So let me show you what it is. Pivot table is basically a pivot features in Microsoft Excel to handle pivot analysis, right? However, the application of pivot table in Microsoft Excel is so limited because the pivot analysis with pivot table can only apply on one table only. However, as the time goes on, okay, we find that now this is the earn of data scientists. That means, okay, we will have a much more data from different data sources and need our effort to do analysis on it. So if we're still using pivot table, then it is not enough for our daily operation. So that's why I will have this session. So at the very beginning, let us start from some concept in data science first. Basically, okay, most of you may have some idea on what is data scientist. Okay, now I will kickstart with the BI solution architecture with all of you first. Basically, for data science, okay, nowadays is a very hot topic, right? Because everybody will find that if we can catch at most as much as we can capture the data from our daily operation, then we can do whatever different kind of analysis to get some very amazing result to help us to make decision and also help the business to enhance our operation and the efficiency of our daily work as well. So how to do a kickstart with this business model? First of all, just have a look on this diagram. First of all, as shown in this diagram, okay, on the left-hand side, you can see in our daily operation of every company, we will have different data sources from different systems. For example, maybe most of the company, the size is more or less like that of our Li and Phone. Then most of them will have a CRM system and ERP system. Basically, what is CRM and what is ERP? CRM is the customer relationship management. Basically, CRM most popularly will use in retail business. For ERP system, basically most of the company in Hong Kong or maybe in the rest of the world also have an ERP system. Basically, ERP, the full name is the Enterprise Resources Process. For example, in Ni and Phone, we always treat the order management system is part of our ERP system. Okay, because our core business, okay, all the transactions of our core business are handled by the order management system. So we can cheat. Okay, or the order management system is part of our ERP system as well. Of course, for nowadays, not only for those internal system, okay, the data is not only from the from the internal system only, but also maybe we need to get some extra data from social platform like the Facebook platform and Twitter platform as well. The reason why we would like to capture this kind of information, because nowadays is a social media world. If we would like to promote our business, okay, social media like Facebook, Twitter is very important for business. So that's why if you get your own Facebook account for your company, then we can capture those visitors information and do have a further data analysis, okay, for our business as well. Of course, here we still got some apps. Okay, what does it mean? Because besides from the social platform and also from the data internal system, data can also be captured from those external parties like those financial institute as well. The reason why, because if we are doing business, okay, in the in an open world, okay, that means our business not affected only between the relationship with the supplier and also the customer, but also is being affected by the macroeconomic as well. So that's why if we are doing some data analysis on our business, we need to also cater those macroscopic data like those financial index, like the GDP of a different country, the interest rate, and also the unemployment rate of a specific country as well. This kind of data may also help us to do data analysis as well. And for today's session, okay, what next here? Okay, for today's session, I will focus on this box. As you can see here we'll call it as the data integration and ETL. Basically, what is ETL? ETL, okay, basically is a three words, okay? The first one, E, that means extract. T, that means transform. And know, that means to know the data back to the database. What does it mean? Because as you can see here, okay, we will got different data sources from different platform, different channel, or different financial institutes, something like that. If what we need to do is to extract those useful information and then put it into our analysis system to do further to do the analysis. So the first step is extract. That means extract those useful data into our system. And what next is to do the transform. For example, most popularly, I think daily, okay, we will have a sort of data like the dates, okay, the transaction dates of a certain case, right? If after we extract those data from the system, and then we'll do the transformation operation, like to separate the days, year, and months, okay, and then put it back to the database to have a further data analysis. Then we will treat this process called the transform. If we would like to know it back to our database, then we will call this operation called L. So we will combine this operation as an ETL. Basically, for today's session, the use of the PowerPivot will focus on ETL and also some very simple reporting as well. And after we do the ETL, then we'll put those data, okay, after the ETL process back to a place called data warehouse. Basically, most of the people in the world, we know, okay, what is database? However, what is the main definition of data warehouse? Okay, database and data warehouse are also a electronic storage area for you to keep your data. However, the major differences is like that. Database, those data in database, we will frequently updating the data. For example, in our order management system, all the transaction data will update day to day, time to time, right? That means, okay, the transaction record will keep on updating all the time. Then this kind of keep on updating the information, we'll put it in the database. However, after process those database information, and we would like to keep it in a quiet base, for where, okay, we will put those data separately and without frequent updating. Then we will call that area, that storage area, call it as the data warehouse. Okay, most popularly, okay, all our reporting operation, we will retrieve data only from the data warehouse. The reason why? Because we would like to do the analysis more effectively and also more correct. Okay, the reason why, if we retrieve data directly from the database, that means those are frequently updated record. If we're doing reporting on this data set, then our report may be wrong, maybe not correct. So in order to make sure all the data are safe, are correct, and which is clean enough for doing reporting, then we will do the ETL process and put all this kind of data in the data warehouse. And after that, all the data warehouse data can be retrieved by the reporting system to do further analysis. Basically, this is the basic concept, okay, in nowadays data science world. Okay, any questions? If you have any question, you may type your question in the Microsoft team, and I will answer your question, okay, immediately, okay? Okay, now let's have a look on this diagram. Because the BI architecture is only the rough idea. Maybe there is some in common knowledge in different system. And this part I will demonstrate. Okay, if we use the Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Office to do data analysis. Okay, what steps we will need to do, okay, in doing the data analysis stuff. Okay, basically now I would like to change the terms, okay, from Microsoft Excel to Power Excel. The reason why, because for the version Office 2016, that means that the version that Li and Feng using, okay, they are quite different from the old version. Because in the past, you cannot find these two features. The first feature is called the Power Query, and the next feature is PowerPivot. Okay, basically, okay, we will have additional two very powerful feature called Power Query and PowerPivot. So I will change the name. Okay, I will rename the Excel to Power Excel. The reason why, just have a note on the data processing process over here. First of all, okay, if you have a tons of raw data from different channel, okay, let's say from Microsoft Access or Microsoft Excel or even from the SharePoint or maybe from other system, then we will call this kind of data called raw data. For those raw data may have some error, missing link, missing data over there. So if we would like to make sure all the data are correct and maybe and also which is capable for our data analysis engine to do the reporting or analysis feature operations, then we'll first of all to do a very important process called Power Query. Power Query, basically, Power Query is some micro instruction that we design to put in the Microsoft Excel, which can help us to retrieve the correct data. That means, okay, we may set some criteria in Power Query so that the Power Query will help us, okay, to select those data we need, okay, for us to do data analysis. Then so that's why Power Query is very important for us to retrieve data. For this part, in this class, I will give you some basic idea only, because I have another course which is mainly focusing on the usage of Power Query. If you would like to learn more about the detail, you may go to the Workday to register for that course, okay, and I will announce later. Okay, after we retrieve all the data, okay, from different data source and resources, so what next is to formulate something called the data model. In the old time, okay, maybe 5 years back or 7 years back, at that time, maybe most of our data are come from a single table only. So at that time, we can apply the pivot table easily and do whatever we want to do the analysis for our boss, right? So, however, now the world being become more complicated. Resources will data resources may come from different table, right? Maybe at one time we need to handle several tables all together in order to do the data analysis. So that's why Microsoft introduced a new concept to us, that is data model. For example, in our order management system, okay, we will have a fee table which we will frequently use. For example, like the case record, the customer record, and also the supplier record. right? And this field record, we can link together to link the relationship because as we know, okay, in case record, we can easily find the customer ID and also the supplier ID, and so that we can follow the trend of the customer ID and the supplier ID to look for detailed information about the customer and supplier from their separate table. So in data model, we can help to formulate this relationship so that we can build up some linkage between tables. This is very important in handling those complicated database. After we formulate a data model, then we can kickstart to have a pivot analysis. In the old time, if we handle only one table, then we will be using the pivot table features to handle the pivot analysis. However, now we need to handle the data model. That means altogether maybe handle 10 to 100 tables altogether in a single data model. Then we will apply another new features called the PowerPivot. However, for PowerPivot, the features are also limited. So if you would like to enhance the features or maybe design some new features to handle your complicated analysis, then you need to learn another new language. The new language called the DAX. The full name is called the Data Analysis Expression. Okay, basically, if you find that, wow, David, I just learned how to use the Microsoft Excel functions. However, now they changed to another language. It doesn't mean I need to learn from the scratch. Okay, the answer, of course, no, because the DA's language is more or less like that of the Excel formula. So for those people or those colleagues, if you have experience in using a Microsoft Excel function, then it is very easy for you to taking care those DAX operations. Okay, up to this moment, any questions? If no questions, okay, then we'll kickstart to have a look on what we would like to do today. Okay, now just go back to our Microsoft Excel. Okay, as according to the email, okay, I sent to you yesterday. I have already sent you all together should have two Excel file, right? Two Excel file. Okay, please open the Excel file called which one? Okay, let me show you. Okay, we have two Excel file. One of the Excel file called the data.xls file, and the other one called the DAXXLS file, right? Please open this data file. This one is the exercise file at 04102018 underscore data.xlsx file. Okay, just double click this file and open it. This file, well, is quite complicated. You may see it as a complicated, right? Okay, let me show you. Okay, after you open the file, okay, what you get here is some Excel spreadsheet data, right? Altogether, we will have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Altogether, we will have a seven worksheets, okay, contains data. And this worksheets are coded. The first one is the customer lookup. Second one is the store lookup. Third one is the product lookup, candidate lookup, transaction lookup, and also region lookup and returns as well. Okay, now just have a look over here. If I would like to kickstart to do some data analysis, okay, what should we do? What should we do to kickstart to doing the data analysis? Okay, just have a look over here. Okay, go to the customer lookup. Let's have a look how many customers we have on this spreadsheet. I just simply press Control down arrow, and then I find that altogether we will have a 10,281 customer. Okay, easy, right? If you go to the transaction, just have a look on how many transactions we have. Press the Control down arrow, and we find that we altogether we will have 269,720 records altogether in this spreadsheet, right? So what should we kickstart? I would like, okay, just have a look over here. Transaction, okay, transaction. Transaction, okay, according to our basic knowledge, okay, on database, okay, transaction will keep all the information about the transaction record of our business. And those transaction record, okay, just have a look over here. What we got inside this table is we have the transaction date, the stock date of the transaction, also the product ID, customer ID, store ID, and quantity. Product ID, we can use the product ID to look for the detailed information of the product from the product table. And for the customer ID, we can making use of this index, okay, to look for the detailed information about the customer. The same as the previous two, okay, we can use this ID to look for the details about the store as well. And here, it will show us, okay, the transaction, the quantity. That means, okay, it will show which this customer, okay, the 3449 customer, okay, buy the product X69, okay, for 5 items, okay, in which store? In number 6 store. This is the transaction. It shows us, okay, the detailed information. But now I would like to, okay, build a data model to link those information up of this transaction table with those information with the product ID and customer ID. Then what should we do? I would like to link the product table, customer table, and also this transaction table all together. Then what should we do? So first of all, I would like to retrieve this table and put it into the data table. Okay, put it into the data table, and then to put it into the data model of the Microsoft Excel. So how to do it? First of all, if we got this data set, so we move the active cell to this area. Okay, and this area we'll call it as the current region, right? So after we move our active cell to this area, and then please click the insert menu over here, and then you will find we've got something called the table, right? Table. Click table, and then it will ask you, okay, do you want to turn this range into a table? And it will also ask you whether this range have the table header or not. If I have the table header, for example, like this one, we really have the table header. Okay, so we need to click this checkbox. Okay, okay, and then it will turn this range into a Excel data table, right? If after it is turned into a Excel data table, then as you can see here, we will have an additional tools bar, okay, appear at the top of the menu. We've got a tools called the the table tools, and then under it we will have a menu section called design. And over here on my left hand side, you can see here we've got something called the table name. Because this is the first table, okay, being created in this Excel file, so it will automatically name it as the table 1. However, I don't want to name it as table 1. I would like to give a more meaningful name, okay, for this table. So I will name it as TBL chance, just like this. Okay, let me magnify, okay, this area for you, okay, just like this, okay, this part, TBL chance, just name it as TBL chance. And then from this moment onward, okay, whenever we call the TBL chance, that means this table. And now also do similar things. Go to the customer lookup, and then again, I would like to turn this customer lookup range into a customer table. So do the same thing. Insert table, and over here my table has header, right? And then after that, also go to the table name, name it as TBL cust, like this. Okay, to name the customer lookup table as TBL cuts, like this. What next? I'd like to go to the product lookup as well. In the product lookup, do some similar thing. Go to the insert, select the table options, and then over here, okay, ask the Microsoft Excel to turn this range into a table with the table header as well. And now we have already turned it into a table. And the table, the default name is table 3. But now I would like to rename it to a more meaningful table name as a TBL product. Just like this. So after we're doing this, now altogether we will have a 3 table is ready. Okay, the first one is the transaction table, this one, TBL trans. And the second one is the product table, TBL product. And the third one is the customer table, TBL cost. Okay? And now, if I would like to put it to formulate a data model, so how to do it? Okay, the first thing I would like to do is like that. Because if this is the first time, okay, you would like to use the PowerPivot, okay, to formulate the data model, okay, then you cannot see this option. For me, because I have already used the PowerPivot for at least, okay, 100 times, okay, for at least 100 times. So that's why I can find the PowerPivot manual over here. However, if this is the first time for you to use the PowerPivot, then you need to do one thing. That is, go to the data menu. And then in the data menu, you can see a section called the data tools section here. And then in the data tools section, you can see over here, you will got something called the manage data model. Once you click the manage data model, then it will ask you whether or not you would like to enable the PowerPivot features. Please click the enable features. And then after that, it will open the PowerPivot for Excel for you, just like what you can see here. Okay? Basically, for PowerPivot for Excel, okay, you may treat it as a separate application in Microsoft Office. However, it is strongly linked together with Microsoft Excel. If I load Microsoft Excel, the PowerPivot for Excel can't retrieve any data from other data sources. Okay? So after you click this, and then you find that, okay, an empty PowerPivot for Excel application is opened. If you close this application again, then you will find that in your Microsoft Excel, you can see under the PowerPivot menu, you can see these features. The first one is the manage, second one measure, third one KPI, and the fourth one is the add to data model. As you can see here, add to data model, what does it mean? Just have a, okay, let us try it. Okay, now let us go to the customer lookup and then move our active cell to the table, TBL cuts. If now at this moment, if you would like to add this table into the data model, then what should you do? Just to move the active cell over here and then click this button, add to data model. After you click the add to data model, then again, the PowerPivot for Excel will again show on top of the screen. And over here, you can see, okay, those data has already been retrieved, okay, to the PowerPivot application program. And over here, you can see the name of the table as well. The table of the name of the table will be shown over here. And here it will show you TBL cuts, right? So at this moment, just do it again. Okay, move, okay, to click the spreadsheet product lookup. After you go to the product lookup over here, if you would like to add this table to the data model as well, just simply click this button, add to data model. After you click the add to data model again, then you can see here, TBL product has already been retrieved, okay, to the data model already. And now, go to transaction, hit this button again. Then, the third table, transaction table, has already been retrieved, okay, to the PowerPivot application. So now, altogether, we've got 3 tables, TBL cuts, TBL product, and TBL chance, right? But what is the major differences between the Microsoft Excel and PowerPivot? Because the outlook of the PowerPivot is quite similar to that of Microsoft Excel. Basically, the major differences is like that. Okay, in Excel, okay, the column name is named as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, something like that. It will be named as the alphabetical characters. However, now here, it will be given the column name, okay, for each table, right? As like as that of our the Excel table, right? So, what are the major differences? Okay, just show you another view. Basically, now we are in the data view of the PowerPivot for Excel. So, as you can see here, under the Home tab, can you see at the right-hand side, you can see something called the data view over here. Basically, now what we are looking at is the data view of the PowerPivot for Excel. If you click this option, diagram view, see what happened. As you can see here, we can see the diagram view. The diagram view is basically showing you all the table, okay, you have already been added to the data model of the PowerPivot for Excel. And over here, it will show you only those field names, and you can see the detail about the data of each table. As you can see here, okay, we've got the customer table, product table, and transaction table. If we say, what next should we do? As I mentioned before, because the reason why we will have a data model, because we would like to retrieve the information from different table from different data sources, right? And next, that is, if we need to do analysis on several tables or maybe 100 tables altogether, then we need to build up relationship for each table. It's very important, right? So as you can see here, for the diagram view in the PowerPivot for Excel, the major function is to build the relationship between tables. So just have a look over here. As you can see here, okay, in the transaction table, we will have something called the product ID. And over here, in the table product, we also have the product ID over here. Basically, what's the usage of the product ID? For layman, okay, I will tell them, okay, for layman, okay, product ID is the linkage, okay, to build up the linkage between these two tables. However, if you would like to have a more conceptual, theoretical concept, okay, on this design is like that. In the product table here, the product ID we'll call it as in the academy, okay, we'll call it as the PK. PK means the primary key. What's the use for primary key? Primary key is to keep the record, okay, inside a certain table, keep the uniqueness of the record. Okay, what's the use of the PK then? What is the meaning of uniqueness? For example, let's take me as an example. My name is David Mann. Basically, in Hong Kong, there will be at least 100 David Mann in Hong Kong, maybe. So how to differentiate this David Mann to other David Mann in Hong Kong? For Hong Kong government, they use a very, very simple method. That is to assign each David Mann have a unique key. And that unique key is the PK, the permanent key of each David Mann. In Hong Kong, this is the Hong Kong ID card number. For your country, maybe your country also issue an ID card. Then the ID card number is your primary key. The usage of the primary key is to keep your uniqueness, to easy to identify different records. This is very important. And now for here, if you see, well, for the transaction table over here, We also have the product ID. But what is the name of this product ID? Okay, basically the name for this product ID is the primary key to keep the uniqueness of the table. And for this product ID, because it is used for what? For the transaction table to point to another table to look for detailed information. So this ID will point to a foreign table. So we will call this ID as the FK. FK, that means the foreign key. That means we will use this ID to point to a foreign table to look for the detailed information of the product. Okay, similar to the product ID. Customer ID over here inside the transaction table is the foreign key. And over here, okay, there's customer ID because it is used to keep the uniqueness of the customer record. So this customer ID, the purpose is for primary key usage. So at this moment, we now know what is foreign key and what is primary key. And then how to link the table together. This is very important, right? How to link it? Very complicated. Listen very carefully. We need to select the product ID over here and drag and drop to the transaction table over here, point to the product ID, and then release. And then we have already built the relationship between the transaction table and the product table, right? Very complicated, right? And now, let's have a look over here. I would like to build a relationship between the customer table and the transaction table. We will drag and drop the customer ID to the customer ID inside the customer table and release. And then we'll got, okay, now we have already built two relationships. Okay, the first relationship is between the transaction table and the product table. And the second relationship is between the transaction table with the customer table. If you would like to have a look on the details about the relationship we have built inside the diagram view, so what should we do? Just have a look over here. Please click the design menu over here. And then can you see here under the relationship section, we will have a button called the Manage Relationship. Manage Relationship. Just click the Manage Relationship button. See what happened. As you can see here, okay, we can see the relationship between the tables. Okay, between the tables. Just have a look. See what we have. As we can see here, it will show all the relationship because up to this moment, we've got only two relationships. So we've got table 1, okay, linked from the transaction table to the customer table. And the other one is transaction table to the product table, right? And the relationship is what? Is many to one. What does it mean by many to one? Just have a look over here. This is the transaction table. Here we've got a asterisk. For asterisk, that means the many relationships. And over here, point to the product. Here it will show you the one over here. That means this is the one relationship. So this relationship, we'll call it as many to one. Why? Why will have this relationship many to one? Let's guess. Okay, what happened over here? Okay, for example, here it will show you the transaction, right? And here it will show you the detailed information of a certain product, right? For example, just like the style number in Lian Feng, right? For a style number, we may have a different customer to buy the same style number product from us, right? So we may have so many transactions from different customer in different day. So that's why we will have many transactions point to the same style number. The scenario is just like what we are doing here. Here we got a single product over here, just like okay, we would like to buy the M&M chocolate, okay, from the nearby Circle K. From that Circle K, maybe, okay, the M&M chocolate is one of the item number over here. And for this single item number, they will have more than one transaction per day, okay, for buying the M&M chocolate, right? So that's why the relationship between the product and the transaction, the relationship is one to many, because we will have more than one transaction to handle the same product item ID, right? Just similar to that of the relationship between the product. Okay, the relationship between the transaction and the customer is also the similar, because a single customer may have many business with us. So that's why one customer over here will have many transactions with the shop as well. So the relationship for the customer and transaction are also one to many as well. So that's why we will have one to many relationship between the tables. That's the reason. So up to this moment, any questions? If you have question, you may just simply type in the MS Team, and then I will answer your question. If no question, then we'll carry on. Basically, now, okay, just have a look over here. Okay, after we build up the model like this, okay, so what's the use for building up this model? As what I mentioned before, I would like to apply the pivot analysis to this data model. Basically, we have already created a data model over here. So how to perform the pivot analysis with this data model? Just have a look over here. Go to Home over here. You can see we've got an option called the pivot table. Just simply click the pivot table options, and then the system will bring us back to Microsoft Excel. And over here, the Microsoft Excel will ask us, okay, whether or not you would like to create a new worksheet to handle the pivot analysis or not. And then we say, okay, build a new worksheet, and click OK. So now we've got a new spreadsheet, okay, for our pivot analysis. Basically, on the left-hand side is the pivot table, and right-hand side is the pivot table fields, okay, in this exercise. As you can see here, okay, on our right-hand side, we can see the fields are divided into 3 different parts. The first part called the TBL customer, and the second one called the TBL product, and the third one is the TBL trans. If we click the expand button, then it will expand and show us all the fields inside this table. Basically, up to this moment, okay, as you can see here, okay, if you have some experience in using the pivot table, then you will know what we should do right now. For example, if I would like to do some analysis in doing analysis on the sales of each product, So what should we do? So over here, I just simply drag and drop the product ID to the rows over here. And then here, it will show you the product number in the pivot table, right? However, now at this moment, I would like to have the information about the what? About the sales number, the sales number. That means, okay, I would like to know, okay, the sales quantity of the of each product. So what should we do? We drag and drop the quantity to the value over here. Then it will show you the product number 1 has already shown, okay, altogether 245 units. And product number 2, it has already sell 471 items. Okay, so in the old time, we cannot do this kind of analysis because the information are from different table. But now, after we build up the data model, then we can link these 2 tables together, and then we can link those information between these 2 different tables together to do the pivot analysis. However, if you observe, okay, my example clearly, you find that you are now dragging the product ID to the row. Okay, the product ID also available in the transaction table. Okay, in the old time, we still can do this kind of analysis. But what is the major differences? Okay, let me show you. If I drag the product brand, then you can find the differences. Okay, I remove the product ID. Okay, different brand, and also check also here different product brand and different product name as well. Can you see here? We can do our data analysis more complicated. Okay, and get more can retrieve more information. Okay, from the table as well. Is it clear? It is very powerful. Okay, it is very powerful and very easy for you to use as well. Okay, actually, up to this moment, any questions? If you have questions, please raise up in the MS Team. And now, another thing is, okay, as what you can see, okay, I did last time. That is, okay, because in here, in the customer table, we got customer ID. And here, in the transaction table, also we got the customer ID. So, wow, maybe, okay, these two, basically, this, as we know, okay, these two customer ID basically are the same, right? However, when doing the pivot analysis, okay, it is very easy to make people feel dizzy, okay, because there's so many field with the same name, okay, with the same attribute, the same feature. Well, it is very make people so dizzy and very difficult to handle, or maybe will generate human error, right? So if for those fields which are duplicated, okay, in different table, then I will suggest you to hide those fields, okay, from the pivot table analysis features. So how to do it? Okay, just have a note over here. Okay, I just click the manage button again and fall back to the PowerPivot for Excel applications. Over here, as you can see here, basically for the product ID inside the transaction table and the customer ID inside the transaction table, basically it's duplicated in this scenario because we can also find the product ID information from the product table and find the customer ID information from the customer table. So what should we do? As you can see here, we may just simply highlight this two ID, customer ID and product ID, and then right-click this. Can you see here? We have an option called the hide from current tools. What does it mean? Hide, okay, very simple. Hide it, okay, from something. Current tools, what does it mean? Because in the Microsoft Excel, basically, okay, Microsoft Excel, if against the PowerPivot table, okay, Microsoft Excel will become the current tools for the to retrieve data from the PowerPivot for Excel. So that's why if we click this button, hide from the current tools, as you can see here, these two fields will become gray in color. And if we press the alternate tab key back to the Excel, and then we will find that under the transaction table, customer ID, both the customer ID and product ID are being removed, okay, from the pivot table analysis. Then it will make the this field simpler and clear, right? So up to this moment, any questions? Okay, if no question, let's carry on. Okay, let's carry on. Okay, as you can see here, okay, if we drag and drop, okay, the quantity in transaction table to the value over here, then it will automatically to do some data analysis for us. Okay, for numerical data, just like that of the quantity, okay, it will do the summation for us by default. However, if you say, David, I would like to calculate the average, okay, for this value, then what should we do? Very simple. Just simply click over here, and then to select the value field setting over here. And then over here, we just change it to the average. And then click OK. then it will show you the average of the quantity. Okay, after we do this operation, I would like to give you a new concept. Because, okay, in the old time, if you just drag and drop, okay, different field to different field inside the pivot table, okay, you just drag and drop all the time. However, now, because for the PowerPivot, it is more sophisticated, so I would like to give you more concept. Over here, can you see this value or the value? Here, it will do the calculation average of quantity. Okay, in the old time, it just called the calculate field. However, now we'll change to another name. Call this field as measure. Okay, for this measure, because we just simply drag and drop over the value field over here, and the measure will automatically generate for us. So we'll call this kind of measure called the explicit measure. What does it mean? That means I need not to type any formula to calculate the measure and divide the measure. Then we will call it as the explicit measure. Okay, if you would like to have a look on the details about the measures in this pivot table, can you see over here? Under the pivot table choose over here, and then you'll find the menu called the PowerPivot. And over here, we've got the measures, right? If you select the measures menu, and then over here you've got something called the manage measures. After you click the measures, and then you find out, wow, how come there are no measures over here? As I say, okay, okay, if I just simply drag and drop, okay, the field over here, the value field, and then the measure generated, this kind of measure called the explicit measure. However, if we like to define, okay, by ourselves, then we'll call those kind of measure called the implicit measure. For those implicit measure, we can do it over here under the Manage Measures dialog box. So, how to do it? How to do it? How to do it? This is very important. Okay, let's have a look over here. As we can see here, we've got the customer field, okay, product field, product table, and also the transaction table. If I would like to add one more measure, okay, for the product field over here. So what should we do? Okay, I would like to teach you the most traditional one first. Okay, let's go back to the manage over here. And over here, click the data wheel again. Okay, I would like to go to the product table. As you can see here, here is the product table. For the product table, can you see? For the product table in data wheel, we find that, okay, our table are separate, our wheel are separate into two separate wheel. The first part is the data wheel, and the second part is something like this without the row number. What is this? What is this area called? Okay, just have a look over here. We call this area as the calculation area. If you don't believe on me, just click this. See? The calculation area disappear. If you click again the calculation area, then the calculation area appear again. So what is the use of calculation area? For the calculation area is for us to have some measures over here, to have some implicit measure over here. Okay, how to create some implicit measure? Okay, just have a look over here. Okay, if I click here over here, select this field. Basically, every cell under the calculation area can be used to create a new implicit measure. After I select this field, so I will type my formula over here inside the formula bar. Let's say I would like the new name of the new implicit measure as the what? As the total number of the retail price. Okay, the cost of the retail price, okay? The cost of the retail price. So total retail price, the total of retail price, okay? Let's say like this. Remember the name of the measure, no space in between. And then after that, I press the colon and then press the equal sign. What does it mean? Colon equal, that means, okay, this measure has already been ready, and I will assign a formula to calculate this measure, the total retail. So what is the formula? FH, like this. FH what? And then after that, after we press the open bracket, we can select which field I would like to use. Over here, I would like to select the product's retail price, this field. What does it mean? I would like to use this field, the product retail price field, okay, to calculate the average. Just like this. I close to type the close bracket as well. So for this formula, what I'm going to do is to calculate the average of the what? Of the product retail price of this table. After that, I press enter. So what you can see here is the measure. As you can see here, the total, the average retail price, okay, is 2.117 over here. Oh, sorry. Okay, I have the one name, okay, for the formula. Then what should I do? Very simple. Go to the field over here and say average retail. And then after that, okay, the measure will be named to FH retail, just like this. If you would like to make more measures, okay, very simple. Do it again, okay. Another field, again, FH underscore product cost, FH cost, and colon equal to and FH. Which field? TBL product cost, just like this, right? Close bracket, enter. Then altogether we have already created two fields over here, right? Two measures over here. So what will happen, okay, in the pivot table? Just have a look. What happened in the pivot table? As I mentioned, okay, because over here we have already created two measures under the TBL product. So for those measures under the TBL product, as you can see here, we have two additional fields over here. And these two fields called the FH retail and FH cost as well. And you can see a formula sign over here. That means they belongs to the implicit measure. That means that this measure is defined by ourselves by typing the formula, right? So what's the use of these measures? For example, over here, we know the FH quality for each brand over here. However, average quantity already. However, we would also like to know the retail price. Okay, FH retail price and FH cost for each product name as well. So what should we do? Drag and drop over here inside the value, and then over here we've got this is the average retail price, okay, for this product item. And here, if we drag and drop again, okay, the cost, okay, under the value over here, it will show also the what? The average cost for the ADJ brand, the ADG Wolsey sunglasses over here. Can you see this? And we can easily, okay, to generate this kind of analysis easily over here, right? And now I would like to change something, because for here we've got something called the FH of quantity. Well, I find that this is a little bit noisy, okay? So I just simply right-click this here, And then I change the value field settings to back to what? Sum. Because if I calculate the average of the sales number of sales item, it is a little bit nonsense, okay, in this scenario. So if I turn it like this, it will become more clear, okay, and telling you that, okay, sum of quantity and average retail price and average cost, okay, for each item, something like that, okay, it will be very clearly and show it over here. And now another thing is, if I say, well, David, over here in the TBL transaction, we've got the quantity over here. However, I would like to calculate also the, okay, because now over here, we've got this product, and that product, right? I would like, and also I know the quantity we sell, okay, for the for this item and for this item and for this item. Okay, so I would like to calculate the total selling, okay, the total selling for retail price and total cost for those items, okay. How to calculate? This is question. In the old time, okay, this is very easy. We may just simply multiply, okay, the quantity of the selling gas, number of sunglasses we sell, and then multiply it by the retail price for each pair of sunglasses. Then it is very easy to do the calculation, right? How to do it? Most of the people will do it outside the pivot table, just like what I'm doing right now. Equal to this one and multiply this one. And then we got the answer like this, right? This is actually the total retail lump sum of money, okay, we got, okay, from the retail, okay, by selling altogether 620 pair of sunglasses. However, this is not part of the pivot table. If you would like to have some more complicated calculation, okay, this method is not so good. So what should we do? Then we will making use of the measure again. So how to do it? So this time I would like to show you, okay, how to do the calculation, okay, with this button. Because the previous one, I just do it, okay, and go back to the pivot table and create the new measures, okay, under the calculation area in the pivot table. However, now I would like to do it over here with the measures button over here. Hit the measures and then go to the manage measures. Because as I told you before, for this dialog box will shows only those implicit measures. Okay, that means all those formula are created by yourself. Okay, so that's why we got the average cost and also average retail cost. Okay, and now if we would like to create a new one, hit new over here. Then it will pop up a measure dialog box. And over here, I would like to create some calculation. And the calculation is based on what? I would like to put, because as you can see here, those measures, after we got the measures, we need to find a place to put those measures. So we need to, first of all, to define which table you would like to put those measures. I would like to put those measures under each transaction, because what I'm going to do is to calculate the total FOB. Maybe you can say total FOB. Okay, now the name of the measure, total underscore retail price, total retail price for each transaction, okay? And now over here, I would like to type the formula. How to type the formula? This is a question. How to type the formula? Now, first of all, I would like to get the transaction, right? The quantity, transaction quantity. So I would like to type the field name first. The field name is TBL chance, but the table name is TBL chance, right? And under the TBL chance, we've got a field called the quantity, right? TBL chance quantity. So I double click TBL chance, this is the name of the table. And I would like to select the field quantity to do the calculation. And now I multiply it by what? By the retail price from the what? from the reply average from the product table. So TBL product. I would like to calculate the retail price, right? So I'll double click the TBL product average retail price. So up to this moment, okay, I've already added a formula, okay, in this table. But now I would like to check whether this formula is correct. Click the check formula. It will tell you, wow, the calculation error is measured. Oh, this operation is not correct. Okay. So what should we do? It say, okay, this calculation is not correct. So what should we do? So we need to see what happened. Okay. Now let's have a look over here. I just click OK, see what happened, what error we got. Click OK again and close. See what happened. After we click this, here we've got a total retail price. We got over here. And if we drag and drop, okay, the analysis to the values over here, drag and drop, some problem happened. Sorry. Hey, come on. Yeah. Yes. Because I would like to show you the error message. Here. The query did not run on the data model could not be success. Here's the error message we got. Okay. Here is the script. Okay, calculation error in the transaction, something like that. Okay, I don't know what happened, but I just first of all save it first. Okay. And then again, okay, I need to close it and then open it again. Because sometimes, okay, it will have some addressing error happened, okay, in this scenario. Okay, I open the file again. Now, this is the view. Okay, if I put over here, again, here it will show you, okay, cannot be determined, okay, the TBL chance. Okay, this is right here because, okay, what I'm going to do, I would like to show an error message. Okay, how come it will show you an error message over here? Okay, just have a look, see what happened. Okay, and let me show you the pivot table first. PowerPivot, manage. And over here, I go to the diagram view. Okay, as you can see here, it will also show you the error message of this field as well. Okay, the reason why, okay, can you see over here? If I would like to, okay, get some information, okay, it will link from the what? From the TBL chance, okay. I would like to call those information about the retail price, okay, maybe from the table for calculation. Okay, for those average retail price here, retail price and cost over here. Okay, these formulas are created under the what? In the same table. Okay, for those retail price and cost over here, right? This calculation are based on the information from the same table. However, if we put, okay, the total retail price over here, okay, the information should be what? We shifted from the what? From the retail field over here. From the retail field over here, right? So over here, if I ask, okay, which return field we are using, then we should use the product ID to look for the detailed information here to calculate the retail price for us for each item. However, because, okay, over here, we've got no we've got the product ID to call the information over here. For this way, can you see over here? This arrow, it will show you only the one direction. That means all the information can only from the left hand side to the right hand side. If we go from the what? From the right hand side to the left hand side, okay, to get the information, we've got a problem because as you can see here, over here we will got more than one quantity, right? Because we will have a many transactions over here. However, over here we've got only one single product item number over here. So that's why, okay, if we apply this formula in the transaction table, we cannot retrieve the information from the product table because in this one directional flow, okay, from the product table to the transaction table, okay, we cannot give a call, okay, from the transaction table to the product table. So that's why at this moment, they don't know, okay, where the information comes from. So that's why it prompts an error message over here. This is the reason. So how to make it happen if we really want to do this kind of calculation? So maybe let us have a 5-minute break, and then after we come back, then we'll continue the session. Okay? 呢個要放大俾人睇嘅。 Okay, wait for a while. Okay, I need to go to the toilet first. Okay, now let us we start now. Okay, as I mentioned before, okay, before we go to the take a short break. Okay, we have go through an error message. Okay, that is like this. Okay, that means, okay, if we create a formula, okay, just fall back to the measures over here and then go to the manage measure. And then in the total retail price over here and then get added again. Okay, because as we can see here, this formula, okay, it will multiply the transaction, okay, the transaction or the quantity and multiply also the product and calculate the average with retail price, okay, from the table. And then we will multiply this calculation. However, if we check the formula, we find that we've got some problem. That is because if we link like this, okay, because as I mentioned before, the relationship between the product and the transaction, that is one product mapped to many transactions. Okay, one product mapped to many transactions. Just like this, okay, one product made to many transactions. Okay, just like this. One product, one made to many transactions. Okay, however, the problem is, okay, one product made to many transactions. That means if I map from this direction, here we've got one product ID. If I map to the transaction and then the machine will got some problem. The problem is still come from what? Because the same product ID over here will have many product ID, okay, happened in the transaction table over here. So if the relationship like this can only come from one direction to this direction, then whenever we transmit those information from this table to this table, then we don't know to which transaction record should be mapped to this different product. So that's why it will pop up an error message for us if we really want to do this calculation. Okay, because for those information from here, from one to many, that one record don't know to map to which transaction record inside this transaction table. Okay, this is the problem. So that's why it will prompt us an error message. So how to fix this problem? Of course, if you say, well, David, we really need to calculate to have this calculation because this is very simple and very normal, right? So how to do it? That means we cannot do it with the implicit measure method. So how to fix it? How to do it? So first of all, go to the measure, go to manage measure first. As I told you here, okay, this operation, this formula is not correct. It will generate error, right? So we simply delete it and click yes, then gone, right? And now what should we do? And now what should we do? Just have a look over here. Okay. If we do another way round, okay, just have a look over here. Go back to the manage. Okay. If we do it in another manner, that is, if I go to data view, okay, I go to the transaction table over here. As you can see here, okay, here it will show you the transaction date, stock dates, and also the store ID and quantity, okay, that we show. So can you see on my right hand side, we've got something called the add column. Okay, basically, besides, okay, in PowerPivot, beside the implicit measure and explicit measure, we also have another calculated area. We call it as the calculated column. That is what we are going to do right now here. For calculated column, it's like this, okay? If we select this column, we say, I would like to add a column over here. We may click over here, and then key in the formula, okay, in the formula bar. For example, like here, I would like to know the total underscore retail price. Okay, total retail price. What does it mean? Colon equal to quantity over here and multiply by those information from the TBL product, calculate the average retail price. If we do it in this way, because, okay, over here, we will use the product ID here from the many side, because for this table, this is the many table. It will check from this product ID and then jump to the product table to look for the price of each product. So that's why if we put the calculation inside this table, use a calculated field to calculate it and handle the calculation for each session, each record, then it will successfully be calculate all the retail price over here for each record. So now we got it. Okay, the total retail price for this transaction is $10.6. And over here, we can add one more column. Let's say the total cost. for this transaction, right? Colon equal to what? The quantity and multiply by TBL, because the cost is also come from the what? FH cost, right? So after that, we got this. Okay, here is the total cost. If we say, David, I would like to add one more column, another column, that is the what? The profit, total profit. And then you can just simply do the what? Subtraction calculation. Use the retail price of each transaction here and minus the total cost over here. And then we will got the total profit is this. Right? So after that, let us fall back to the pivot table. If we say, well, David, if I would like to know the total for each item, so what should we do? You'll see here is the total retail price. Drag and drop over here, then it will do the calculation to let us know, okay, the total retail price is over here. The total cost, drag over here, is the total cost, and the total profit, yes, it's like this. The operation is very simple, right? And here, as we can see here, we'll do different analysis like this, okay, already. Because according to the information provided here, we've got the transaction and products, and also we've got the customer information. And here, because all the calculation is limited to what? To only the product and table. So what we can do here is the calculation among these two tables. But this is already very useful, because in the old time, if you would like to do some calculation with and the information come from two separate tables. In the old time, you need to what? You need to first of all to use the VLOOKUP formula to consolidate two tables and merge them together and put them into one, and then put them into the pivot table to do the calculation. However, now we can just simply drag and drop and do the whatever the calculation we want. Then we will have some very sophisticated analysis result over here. Okay, and now let's try another thing. As you can see here, we've got the also the customer information over here. Customer information over here. Okay, so if I would like to know more about our customer, this is very important. Especially, now we would like to have so many end users, the final those end users analysis in order to forecast their purchasing behavior, in order to know, okay, how to operate our supply chain, right? Because end-to-end information are very important. Okay, we need to get the information from the source, okay, from the vendor side, and also we need to know, okay, the information from our end consumer side. Okay, this is very important to for a supply chain. So, how to making use of those customer analysis? Have a look over here. Okay, we've got the those customer. Okay, they will have different gender, different birth date. That means from the birthday we will know their age, something like that, right? So if we like to do some analysis, okay, regarding to their age, then what should we do? Okay, maybe let us build another pivot table. Okay, and for this one, we'll call this pivot table. Okay, this worksheet called the product versus the transaction. Okay. Now I would like to build another pivot table. So how to build another pivot table? Go to manage over here, and then over here, go to the home, and then at this part, we've got something called the pivot table, right? Pivot table. Go to the pivot table, click again, and it will ask, do you want to have a new worksheet to generate a pivot table? Okay. So we've got it. Okay, this one is the pivot table. And now again, on my right hand side, we've got the TBL cast and TBL product. And can you see here, in pivot table field, we also got a very interesting thing over here is something called the active. What does it mean by active? Here is all. Because just like the one we are using, okay, in the previous example, we use only two tables. So at that table, we've got only two active tables. That they are product and transaction. So if we take active in the previous one, there should be two tables over here. We can see only the transaction and also the product table. And now, because no table is being used, so active is empty. Okay, let's try. Okay, for example, I would like to get some and do some analysis on their age, okay, on the customer. But now what we got here is their what? Is their date of birth. Is their date of birth, right? So how to know their age? Very simple. Go back to the customer table over here. And now I would like to go to their date of birth over here. Here is the date of birth. If I would like to add an additional column, insert column over here, here's date of birth. And the new column, okay, I have already added insert a column, right click and then insert column. The new column called age, colon. How to do it? I just want to check whether we have a formula called age or we know. So what should we do? Do you still remember how to calculate one's age? The formula is very simple. Okay, use a formula called today minus the date of birth of the guy, and then after that divided by 365.25. And then we'll got their age very easily according to this calculation, right? Birthdays and age, right? So now I would like to do some analysis. Okay, this one is an additional column. This is also one of an example of the calculated column as well. Okay, so now I would like to do some analysis on the on this customers purchasing behavior according to their age. So how to do it? Alternate tab, back to the pivot table over here. Over here, we've got an additional field called age over here. If I drag and drop the age to the rows over here, we've got something like this. Okay, here is their range. And now I would like to do some analysis on their purchasing behavior. Let's say, okay, the total the total retail total profits they bring from each age group. Now I go to the transaction table. We've got something called the total profit, right? Check to the value, and then we find that okay, for this age, okay, it brings us this profit. Okay, for this age, okay, it brings us this profit. But this is a little bit nonsense. The reason why this age, okay, so accurate for each individual to bring us which number of profits. Okay, so this is a little bit nonsense. So that's why I would like to do something like this, right? Okay. In the pivot table, we've got something called the group, right? And over here, it say, okay, cannot be grouped. The reason why? Because, okay, maybe these values are locked. Let me check, double fact check first. this log the value, okay, not numerical value. So that's why it cannot be grouped. Okay, I try again. Right click and then group again, cannot group that selection. So if we cannot group, then what should we do? Okay, if we couldn't go, then what should we do? Okay, for this analysis, because this is a little bit this is a meaningless. Okay, so now we fall back. Okay, we go back to the data table over here. Over here, you can now recognize this are the integer. So I massage the formula to integer whole number. I just get the integer part. See what happens. After that, you can see after I change it to integer, although it is also not what, cannot be grouped together because it also treated as a textual information. However, it is already what, group all the 37 years old together into one group, and then we have a roughly, okay, we can roughly consolidate this data to have a look on the distribution of the profit, the bring from each age group. Okay, of course, if you say, well, David, if we would like to we make it more visually, then what should we do? We can also generate a very simple thing like this. We will use something called the conditional formatting, just like this. Highlight these columns, and then we change to home, and then conditional formatting, and use the data bar. And what we got here is like this. And then we can have a look accordingly. Okay, different age group will have a different age will give us a different bring us a different profit, like this, right? And this analysis is according to the age. So age analysis. Okay, up to this moment, any questions? And also another thing, as I mentioned before, because now we have already used two tables to do this analysis. So in the active column, we've got only two tables, right? But if we click all, then we can see three tables because we still have the product table not yet been using. If you would like to activate, okay, this product table as well, very easy. We can just simply put, can you see here? We've got something called the product brand, right? We just simply drag and drop the product brand to the column. And then over here, it will show us an overview. Different age of people will bring profit to different brand in different values. We have already generated an analysis table like this. But of course, okay, it will become, you may say, wow, so nonsense. How come? Okay, for each years old, okay, each age, okay, we will do bring out the analysis. It is not so efficient. However, now because we have some limitation, okay, for this scenario, because it cannot recognize, okay, this part is a number, so it will bring this problem. But of course, if you say, well, I would like to change the values, okay, here, to automatic and group again. Oh, no, also cannot be done. Okay, because I still want to try. Okay, see whether we can change it to number. Okay, I do it again. Okay, if we change it to number, okay, I don't want to use general, use number. Still can't be grouped. Okay. Okay, we have some limitation in this part. Okay, actually, after we bring for the brand into the pivot table to do analysis, now the active column we can see altogether we will got the 3 table are active in this scenario. Okay. Any questions? Okay, if no questions, okay, let me show you the PowerPoint, and then I give you a roundup first. Okay, first of all, okay, the reason why we like to create a data model, because for data model, the beauty for the data model is like that. If we use the PowerPivot tools to create a data table, then a data model, we can link all the tables together into one, and then we will apply the pivot analysis with the PowerPivot features in Microsoft Excel. So that's why, okay, the first thing we would like to use is to click the Manage button, and then to enable the pivot table features. And then what next? What next is that we would like to have the PowerPivot. For those PowerPivot, okay, we will use the add to data model method to add all the table into the data view. After we add all the table into the data view, then we can drag and drop, okay, with both the foreign key and the primary key together to build a relationship between each table. Okay. This is already I have already mentioned. If you would like to have a look on the detailed information about the relationship between each table, then you may click the button, okay, Manage Relationship in the PowerPivot application. For the PowerPivot application, here it will show you the relationship, what is many to one or one to many relationship, and here we will also show the direction as well. Here is some example, okay, about the pivot table and normal pivot. Here for PowerPivot, we can handle more than one table. However, for normal pivot, okay, it can only handle one table only. And here, another very important thing I need to mention is about the filter direction. Okay, here is the arrow sign. That means that all the information are listed by the what? Are retrieved from the calendar lookup information to retrieve those information from the return, okay, table. And for this one, also the direction is point from the calendar lookup table to the transaction table. So all the information should be what? So we use the key from the calendar lookup table to retrieve from the to retrieve it. Okay, this is the direction of the retrieving operation. Okay, so for this one, because as you can see here, for this table, calendar lookup is the what? Is in the upper stream. Okay, because I would say, okay, if the direction is a point from the top one to the bottom one, okay, in this direction, I will call this table as the upper stream, and those table being pointed by the arrow sign is called a lower stream. Okay, for the lower stream table, okay, because as I know, the calendar is the upper stream. So that's why we can put all the calendars fields inside the rows and column field over here. And for those those fields belongs to the return and transaction can only be put inside the values field over here, because for the column and row and filter, they belongs to the filter. That means that they will control, okay, those lower streams table according to the linking relationship. However, if you say, if I put those lower stream, okay, fields inside the row field, column field, or filter field, then what will happen? Then it will show an error message and say, okay, because the field we select, okay, is in the row field and column field are in the lower stream. then the operation is illegal and they cannot determine, okay, what the relation is. So it will give us some error message. That is what we can see in the previous video. And now, because as I mentioned before, okay, because in the old time we call it is a calculated field, and now we have already changed the name to measure. And for those measure, okay, if we like to type formula, then we need to know what is DAX. Basically, I forget to tell you this very important thing. What we are typing over here, this kind of formula, are DAX already. That means in your resume from now onward, you can add, the programming language DAX already. Okay, because as I mentioned before, okay, the DAX formula is basically quite very similar to that of the Excel formula. The major differences is like that. In Excel formula is that for the calling the formula, we can call the range A1 to A10 or B1 to B10, something like that. However, in DAX, the calling method is like that. We need to call which table and which column. Basically, the major differences is on the rotation of the calculation area or calculation address. Okay, this is the major differences. Besides these differences, okay, you may cheat. Okay, DAX expression is more or less like that of the Excel formula. Okay. Basically, this is the major thing I would like to share with you today here. Okay, up to this moment, any questions? If you have any questions, please raise up. Okay, and I will explain. Okay, your question. If no more question, I will stop here. Because I find that today I have already give you so many new concepts. I think most of you need to have some time, okay, to digest what I give you. I will prepare the today's record session and chop it down, and then to share on the Workday platform. And then we'll send you back the link so that you can making use of the video recording today to do the practice again, okay, on your own machine. If you have no more problem, so I will stop here. Okay, anyway, thank you for coming and thank you for attending my PuP session today. See you next time. Bye bye.